Hello, guys. Welcome to Matt and Nen podcast. This is Matt.
And this is Nen.
Today, we would like to speak about work and what does work mean to us and to many of our people. Um, we have a few themes that we want to discuss in this topic, and one of them is entering the job market, technical and non-technical job, working with a diverse team, being a minority in a company. And yeah, we'd like to delve into these topics, and we hope that at the end of this discussion, our viewers will have learned something that would help them in their daily life as they pursue the job market.
Thank you. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Samuel Nen Pautong. Professionally, I'm an engineer. I work in aerospace and also in electrical. I do work in those fields. So I'll be discussing about my experience and what I learned and what I think you should know if you are starting your career or even if you are in the middle of your career. Thank you, Matt.
Myself, I would describe myself as I work in the international development. I support, in my day-to-day job, I support small and medium businesses, mostly in developing countries, particularly Africa. In this discussion, we'll share my personal experiences, and we hope this will inspire many of our viewers. And first, I would like to start by asking about how do people define work in our society? I mean, compared to the global, understanding of work. How people define work?
It's a good question. Normally, I would take it back to our country, back home, where family or even mom and dad, they will ask you to tell them what you want to be in the future. You want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, or you want to be an accountant, or I just want to be a normal guy that can be a businessman, start selling my goods to the cattle to a nearby market. So for me, job could be anything like a white collar, where you go to office every mornings and perform your duty, or you can just do any type of work where it could be hospitality job, it could be a physical job where you do bricklaying, you could do plumbing, you could do electricians. A job could be any of those categories. You can do with paid jobs, or you can do a volunteering job where your aim is to gain experience and to be able to get to where you want to be. So that's my small understanding about jobs and work.
I think, I mean, more or less we agree on the definition of work. Of course, traditionally, we have the same definition. Now things have changed, and it's about modernity and education. Many people these days, particularly young people, work in outside the country, work outside of their village, outside of their homeland. So the definition of job has evolved over the years, and most of the jobs these days are even though they're technically non-formal, but you would consider them formal because you would need to, apply, be supervised by somebody else. But in the past, it was mostly being supervised by your parents or your elder siblings. I think those are some of the differences of how, our definition of work and employment has, evolved. And in the past, we would not call it employment because there was no immediate wage, or salaries. It was more like an apprenticeship, from your family. They teach you how to farm, how to keep livestock, and you don't get paid. I mean, you basically hold it as a responsibility. But talking about the formality of things, how do you see, the people entering into the job market this day? How is it looking from your own experience, and how is it also from our country and the people in the same age group as us? How is entering the job market today?
I think people can enter into job market differently. Nowadays, as Generation Z, whereby a lot of them learn how to do trading online. Some of them, they're still in high school, they're still in university, and they're really good at doing trading. So they can trade all day. For them, that's a self-employment. And then we have the old school passion where you get a normal employment where you work from 9 o'clock or to 5 p.m. So I see people being employed by a company, by your small business, or by your family business, and then as you being a sole trader where you can do a self-employment. So you entering to those type of jobs market, you need a bit of training where you either train yourself or you go to a training school where you go and learn those technical skills so that it will help you doing your job. Sometimes people go to university. When they go to university, they get a bit of paperwork and that get done, and then they have to go look for apprenticeship, or they maybe go look for internship where they learn a bit of experience, and they will be mentored by an experienced person. So those are the way that you may be able to enter into workforce. Very early in your career, or maybe you're changing jobs. You're going to a different direction when you do a job for maybe 10 years and you don't want to do that anymore. Maybe it's a continual learning for you. So I think entering into the job market is very different nowadays.
Just to follow up on that, is it difficult or easier to enter the job market these days? For example, let's say you graduate from university or whatever vocational technical training that you graduate from. Is it easy to enter the job market these days? We can speak about our country in particular, but also Africa, African youth. Is it easy to enter the job market these days?
I would say it's not very easy because these young people or these people who do not have experience, they need to be supported. So for you to look for that job, maybe someone has been in that job for very, very long time and they're not going to leave anytime soon. So you got all 100 applicants that are applying for that type of jobs, and it's not easy for those people that just start out. So they may end up doing something that they don't want to do. So if they are supported by the government that look after them, they can create opportunity where they will give them a lot of attention. Let's say if you guys are finishing your degree this year, maybe this is a practice that you need to do so that when we text you later, at least you will know what we do in our department. So I think government play a lot of roles within the community to make sure these young people are supported. So if that's not those programs are not there, it would be very difficult for them to start their career. So they need to be supported. They need to be looked after, and they will be given guidance on how to navigate to the workforce.
Talking about young people, we can discuss about the technical and non-technical. And I would like to understand from your hand, in terms of technical jobs, how do you see this? How would you define the technical jobs in 2025? Somebody talk about technical job. What would you understand with that?
My understanding of technical job is we have the traditional way of doing things where you may need to go to university for you to study more or to challenge yourself and how you conduct things. So to be able to provide a good technical report or technical advice, you probably need a degree at least so that you.
So we're talking about doctors, engineers, bankers, economists, and people like this, right?
Yes, those type of things that have gone to a class that has to spend at least maybe minimum of 3 years to be able to get that technical knowledge. Alternatively, what do you think about the non-technical job?
I mean, for me, the non-technical job, even though, we use the term in abstract to describe people that do not necessarily need a specific qualification to be able to do the job. And in my opinion, these are the most important people because these are the people that, for example, like SATA, all this stuff, the table that we use, the tiles, bricklayers. We talk about people that work in bakeries, this that you just need a bit of training and to be able to enter that. I think these are important jobs, even though there is the view, especially in our community, that these are not they're not desirable. They're considered, low level because you don't have to wear a suit and be very formal. They're very important. And in some instances, if you look at the statistic, for example, according to International Labour Organization, only 22% of young people in Africa, when I talk about young people, I'm talking about people below 40 years, only 22% are employed in the formal or what you consider technical sector. So the rest are non-technical and self-employed. So basically, the one that drive industry, the one that drive development, and this kind of people. And I think our society and government need to promote this, because these are the backbone of the country or as a society.
Yeah. I cannot agree with you more than that, but our society is expecting us to go to university, get a degree, go to someone's office and ask for a job. What do you see our society is trying to push our young people to? Because they can go to university for 4 years and learn what they want to learn, but at the end of the day, that's not what they want. You know, people are refusing these kids to go to learn about apprenticeship, where they can learn with their hand. They can like learn by doing it. Yes, that's the main thing they do. Learn by doing it. They become a plumber. They become an electrician. They do this. These jobs are very demanding in our society. But where we are told that you have to go to university and all this.
Yes, the as you said, the demand is there and supply is limited. For example, we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need carpenters. If you go to South Sudan now, majority of the people who work in carpentry are from Uganda. Electricians are from Uganda, Kenya. Those who are driving water trucks, drivers are from Ethiopia, Eritrea. Not that it's a bad thing, but it points to a lack of labor within the country. And I mean, I'm pro, movement of labor across Africa. But if you have a dormant workforce that is just sitting idle, sipping tea, I think it's not good for your economy to develop. So I think we need to promote, this mindset of passion. That if you want to be an engineer, you should pursue that. For example, for me, when I was growing up, I wanted to be an engineer. I was also being pushed to be an engineer, but I eventually ended up, studying international development and economics. That was out of necessity. So I think we need to promote that passion, from a young age. If indeed we want somebody to become, highly educated, be a doctor, be an engineer, we need to look at what they are good at. And I think if we do this, we would be able to count our children instead of sending them to school for 4 years and they come with some degree, yet they don't want to use it. They are not passionate about it, about the degree that they came out with.
Do you think the governments within Africa, in particular our country, South Sudan, that they need to build facilities where these young people are introduced early to this working environment where while they are in high school, they can learn how to actually work with the handy thing, how to use the tool while they're in high school. Even if it means they take 1 day a week and go to workforces and learn how things are done over there, So I think our government should be able to provide facilities for learning, for our people to learn. A place where they learn plumbing, a place where they learn carpentering, a place where they learn bricklaying, a place where they learn anything, so that these people become knowledgeable and they can do anything. They can build road and all those,
100% agree, because you look at TVET, what I call technical, technical vocational training centers are key to making sure that the youth are not idle. If I'm not wrong, I think that exists at best 3 technical training centers in South Sudan, in maybe one in Wow, one in Juba, another one in Ye. These are institutions that you need to be able to develop, and these a government can contribute to. Of course, international and development partners get support, but the government need to come with the action plan and ask for support, because you cannot be expected to know everything and to have the technician to support this people.
100%.
You can bring people from the neighborhood countries to train them. I mean, if we can import, people who are making chapatis in the street, what about, people who train people how to make bricks?
Yes.
It shouldn't be a big problem to do this. And I think that our population, young people who are motivated and energetic to be able to work, our government in particular needs to look into this sector and work very hard to promote it. Otherwise, it would be difficult to get rid of this, gap in terms of training. And in just to follow up, also to ask you from your end, we also it also links to how the career development You and I, we've had our experiences working. I spent my first 5 years of professional life working in South Sudan, all over the country, and the last five working abroad in different countries. What have you learned early in your career, when you started to work? And what was your first job, if I may ask?
Early in my career, like I said, I started working when I was in high school. I would take a day off. It was mandatory for me to go and learn work experience while I was still in high school. So I would take a day off from school to go and learn how to work. So that's what building me to grow and learn how things are done outside school. So it's not all about books. You can learn from the books, but you have to go out and do that type of work and show that you can work with different people, different cultures and things like that. So my first job was I always go to different companies because it was mandatory that you have to do at least 60 days of that type of work experience. So within that last semester, I was able to go out and learn. So I was actually ready before I even go to university, working with people and learning all these type of things. I was very lucky to have that opportunity to give it to me. So
And how does it feel, working in a diverse environment with different types of people? How did it feel for you? Maybe you can remind us about how this feels, because maybe a lot of people could resonate to that experience.
well, working with diverse people, the diverse could be different experience, different people, different nationality. So for me, I was working with people who are from a different country and people who also have a different experience. So it was about identifying, if you identify what you want, and then you see the path to go there. So what I did was to make sure that this is what I know and this is what I don't know. And I found out who to help me. So that was my first career. And then after that, it became a habit for me to make sure that working with these people, what I normally conduct myself is I do respect myself as well as following the work policy, and the company policies and procedures where those are the guidelines that was given to you by your employer. But in real world, I look for mentors within that environment, people who can help me, people who are in the same level of experience as me. So that really helped me a lot.
Would you say that working with the different groups of people has helped you to learn how to navigate this, being a minority, working with different types of people with different mentality and perception of you, particularly being a black man, a South Sudanese person with South Sudanese origin? What are some of the lessons and experiences, and also feelings that you had, being in this environment?
Yeah, absolutely. Being the minority in a big group will not be an excuse for you to do what you really need to deliver. So for me, it was what I know and how people see me and what I deliver in my job. So being a South Sudanese person was something that I kept in my heart, and it was never the reason why I would look down on myself or other people would look down on me. But there was a key thing where you are the only person there, and these people will be like, how did this person come here? How did they actually make it? And then they asked me, they said, where did you learn your engineering? Where did you learn your aerospace? Did you learn it in Africa? Did you learn it in different countries? I said, I learned it here.
But where exactly are we talking about? Just for our viewers.
Oh, well, I study in Australia. Australia was my study place where I did my high school, a bit of primary school, and also in university. So when I go to my office with my friends, normally they thought maybe I learned my engineering back in Africa.
Yeah.
So
But
that's another way of them looking up.
So you have not been westernized, that is to say.
It's very difficult for them to westernize and mermaid. So I still keep my Nuerism.
I don't know if that's a positive thing or a negative.
It is very positive because having a culture is very important to.
No, I mean, it's very admirable. Like, myself as well, as I've worked with many. At the beginning, I started working. My first job actually was working for South Sudanese Referendum Commission. I just finished high school at the time. I went back to South Sudan for a bit, and I worked there. And I was it was highly paid, actually. So I wouldn't say it was like a mentorship or, a highly job. Even though it was a one-time off, I was, because at the time, majority of the people in South Sudan at the time just came back from Khartoum, and they were mainly educated in Arabic. So I was in the polling station, the only person who could speak English, and I was doing the reporting. So that was my first job. I worked 100% in South Sudan, but I also observers from other countries, from AU, from the UN, and other countries. But over the years, for the last 10 years, I've worked in very diverse environment with different nationalities. First with South Sudanese, and from different parts of the country, but also probably I would say almost every nationality that you can imagine. And at the beginning, of course, being a new person, you're very proud, and that can be misunderstood as to mean you're arrogant. But in our society, we're trained that you have to maintain your dignity, and that does not mean the fact that the other person does not know this does not mean that you are being arrogant. And that is, the intricate part of working in a multinational, because you have to navigate this. You have to understand that people do not know you. They do not know your culture. They do not know what you don't like. For example, somebody would offer me something, and I would say no. For them, maybe they would be offended. Me, I look at it as not taking things for free. So it's a very challenging experience, but also rewarding, because I've learned a lot now. I've managed to survive, so to say, but it was not easy at the beginning, because sometimes you have to keep your ego to be able to survive.
I could imagine.
So sometimes people, as you said, people ask you, where do you learn your engineering? The first thing that somebody will ask me is, for example, working abroad especially, someone will ask me is, where are you from? First question. And for a Black person, this is offensive, because you want to put me in a box. You want to identify where I'm coming from, so that you can describe me in your mind who I am.
Yeah.
And people will ask me, where did you go to school? You have good English.
Where did you learn that English?
Yeah, where did you learn that English from? I'm like, speaking English does not mean you're intelligent. You should judge me by what I do, not what I say. So it's not been easy, but I'm very happy, because I've learned a lot. There have been very good people. There have been difficult, experiences with some other people, and this for me has kept me to be, on my feet, to be challenged and to work hard. And in many cases, even though it's not a nice thing to do, you have to prove yourself all the time that you deserved the job.
Did they ever tell you that you talk too much because you just took like 10 minutes without even giving me a word to
Actually,
mention that?
Actually, my experience has been that people telling me that I don't talk. I don't say anything.
It doesn't look like it, because you have been talking for the last.
That might tell you that I'm passionate about this topic, because I have seen people being looked down upon, being questioned, and it's not encouraging. And for some people with low self-esteem, it can be very difficult to navigate this. So that's why for me, it's a very passionate discussion.
I want to ask you another question.
Yeah.
Working in an environment where you have a different audience and people with different experience and things like that, how do you work together with your colleges?
So what I do is, of course, wherever you are, there are policies, there are guidelines. For me, also being trained as a new person, I have very high ethical standards. I look at myself as a representation of my community. So I always want to show the best. To show the best of myself, to work hard, to be reliable, to be honest, to be, trusted. So that is how, I managed to navigate this, and also to respect people. People have different cultures, the way somebody sees something from China, from Japan is different from the way I see things. So this is how I try to navigate. It's not always, easy, because you can make mistakes, which is human, but this is how I try to navigate these challenges.
I asked that question because when I was working with those guys on my colleges, normally if something happened in South Sudanese community, it could be young people having issues on the weekend. On the very first time on Monday, they would be asking, oh, were you part of those guys that were on TV yesterday, or are they your friend, or do you know them? So I wouldn't do that as a young professionals, but I tend to ignore them, because that's not me. Who they see on TV is not me. The South Sudanese on TV is not me. People are different. But that's the type of thing when you go to a workplace, it may come up and you have a way of handling it. You know?
But have you ever felt that you need to that report your linkage with this community, African, South Sudanese, whatever you want to call it? Have you ever imagined that you want to dissociate with them in order for you to look ethical, to be considered, reliable?
It's never happened to me because I see them. They are part of my community. They are just young people who are not ready to see how the world is looking like. They're having a good time, just like any other community where young people are just having a good time. But it's very, very focused on that minority group. It's a negative representation of our community. Sometimes it can drag you down as a person.
Absolutely.
So you need to be able to handle that in a way that it doesn't affect you, it doesn't affect your job, you don't react to people who are talking to you in that way. Things like that in work environment can become toxic, but you need to navigate around it. You need to build that trust.
To conclude, if I may ask, what would be your key takeaways working abroad, working with people that don't look like you, but also entering the job market as a young man, of South Sudanese descent, being a refugee at some point? What would be your key takeaways that you would like to share with coming professionals, young people, and what they could learn from your experiences?
Well, what I can say is that it's the knowledge that you deliver. It's the work that you deliver at that workforce, and then you need to be trusted. So you do it correctly, and no one is actually watching. So in reality, is you need to get mentor, you need to get support. And if you are a senior person, you can mentor those young people. You can tell them your experience, even if it means catching up at lunchtime, having a chat about like how work is going. Just asking those people will make a lot of differences. And maybe going back to school, going back to university, going back to high school, people need to be pushed to learn something. If people are not talking about engineering, children are not going to go to engineering. If they're not going to talk about medical science, kids are not going to go to medical science. So we need to go back to our community and push these messages.
I hope you're not telling people only to be doctors and engineers, and you are forgetting that we need plumbers.
What I'm saying is a plumber can go to school and do the bit. What I'm saying is me and what I want people to know. So if I want more engineers, because you see now they probably need quick solutions where people come together and they bring up a solution that can serve the whole community. So for me, I would just say early approach of people who can mentor you will help you in your career, and then being a person who is there for maybe how many years, but you can support the people who are new.
You're also saying that we should not despise any job, that every job, as long as you get rewarded, should be accepted. And now our young people should learn how to start small. Over time. You train yourself, you learn a skill, or even in the process, because sometimes you do not have the means to be able to go for further studies. So you can start small. You can start by selling your goods, your chickens, your farm produce, earn a small income and re-educate yourself.
These are many ways of bringing yourself useful, or maybe if you lacking those small money to go to school, you can start a small business selling egg on the side of the road and cooking chapatis and things like this. This is another way of you achieving your goals. And no one should ever look down on you. But what I'm saying is that as a society, we need to support each other.
Absolutely.
We need to be there for each other. In meaningful world, people need to be there for each other.
No, absolutely. And, I'm hopeful that our podcast will be successful. So you and I can set up our small chapati stand, called Mat, and then chapati stand.
And give it to the community. What I want is to make sure we give everything back to community. Even if we just go to school and talk to these kids, it will make a lot of changes within our community.
I couldn't agree more. I think our community need all hands on deck to finalize. What is your work as
I do have 200 head of cattle and 3 chicken and also 1 acre of land in my ability layer. So that's my net worth. But I think you worth more than me. The way you look at that watch, how much is that?
No. I have a very modest.
But you have 3,000 cows. I know you really have.
I do not that. My worth in terms of assets is that I have 1 acre of land. I have 3 goats and few trees.
Sorry, I was to kidnap you today. Are you telling me that you're not going to be able to withdraw 1 million from your account?
I do not have that. I do not have.
Well, I have planned to kidnap you.
And I don't want you to send me out because whoever, if somebody hear this and they say they want to do it, it will be difficult for them because if they kidnap me, they will have to feed me, which I will accept because that is free service. So don't set yourself up because you'll have to feed me. I have nothing. So thank you very much for this discussion. I think it has been rich and informative.
I want to thank you because you haven't even mentioned your key takeaway messages from this communication, because our viewers are there looking at us and say, these guys are crazy. What are they discussing? But in reality, we need to make sure that we have a good working environment within our country, South Sudan. We want our young people to get those opportunities. We want to make sure we create opportunities for them. We want to make sure our government, we want to make sure our officials, the UN, anyone there is supporting those young people because they are the future of tomorrow.
Absolutely. My key takeaways would be, any work should be done. When you enter the job market, there should not be a yes and no job for you. You can have a PhD, yet you do not have the job market does not match, your skill. So I think apprenticeship should be promoted, where a young person stays with the more experienced person and learn something, learn a trade. You talked earlier about people doing stock trading at high school level. I think this is a nice skill. If you do it well, you should do it. We have sports. I think we can really be good at it. Football, basketball, athletics. I think this is an area that is untapped in our country. And I think young people should look into that. Even though the facilities are not there, but there are some sports like athletics, you don't need to be in a field. You just need to run, train yourself on the basics, and then you would do well. So those would be my key takeaways with young people, that you should not fear to ask. Instead of relying on your degree or your expertise, you should explore other areas. We have so much cattle in that country. I think we can export it. You have thousands of cattle, and you just want to look at them every morning. Like, we should export them. We should not be importing meat, yet we have millions and millions of cows.
Imagine there's families listening to you in their car, watching you in their TV. They are telling their young one to go and study that and that. What message do you have for them?
For me, I think it's not, I would not be opposed to parents giving direction to their children, but it should be something that has been seen. For example, if I see that you're good with working with your hands, creating things here and there, I think you should be pushed to an area where that skill can be used well. So I think there should be the identification of skill or talents. Very important. So this is what I would say. I would say that I would not tell my child that be a doctor by all means. And I feel that he's not gifted enough to be a doctor, or he doesn't like to work with needles. So that is what I would say.
Thank you very much for this discussion. I enjoy talking to you, speaking to you, and listening to what you are saying. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that rich exchange. I think our viewers will learn a lot from you, and we look forward to the feedback from our viewers. So thank you very much, and until next time.
Thank you.